The heavens decided that today was the day that I show you how I've made it rain before. I thought I was going to look into my archive, but the heavens decided today's the day. Watch. Alrighty, okay, so let's get started. So, today I wanted to first talk about something I wrote, and I said that it's been a season of repair for a couple of years now. And 2024 was the climax. It's true what they say, it's always darkest before dawn. I've always loved watching the night blending into the day. The light is stubborn and demands attention. Darkness isn't as intimidating as your mind might trick you. So, you watch the sky like an opening act as the darkness makes way for the main character. That's exactly how it feels like after a storm, the calm after the storm, you know. And I think this video today is going to be more practical in terms of what did I do when I was in my darkness. Um, I read a lot. I read a lot. I listened to a lot of motivational podcasts, which I'll be dissecting. I think I'll be going through just which podcasts helped me in my journey. There's quite a few really great ones. Um, and then I'll go through the books that I studied, I guess, or read. Then, what other resources did I use? Well, I did study psychology myself. So I studied it when I was in bits at university. And yeah, I think it helped me understand the developmental psychology and how it works and how it fits into your personality. Yeah, because I think what really helped me was that I was constantly in a season of, I don't even want to say season. I have the desire to want to understand the world, want to understand myself, want to understand, basically any and everything that I have questions on. So I think it did help me to figure out exactly what it is that I was going through. Because I think when you don't have the vocabulary to describe what you're going through, it's even hard for you to articulate it to yourself. But you have to have, I guess, the guts. Really, it's the guts because you can't be living in fear forever. So you have to have the guts to want to change. Changing isn't easy. This comes from someone who is, you know, constantly trying to seek to better themselves. But I know that changing isn't easy. And asking someone else to change is even harder. And a lot of us, instead of directing that energy of change towards inwards, you want to either outsource. So I'm going to talk about a story where after the year I've had, a friend of mine called me, and it was a good, nice catch up call. I really appreciated it. I just want to talk about, like, even in that conversation, when someone knows exactly where you've been in the darkness, they will still try to find a way to make it easier for them to do the same thing that you did. Um, so, for example, if you're getting advice from an entrepreneur, you're hoping that that person will offer their time in conjunction to offering their advice. So that's the same thing that I found happened in this situation where, I told her all the things I was going through, kind of how just an overview of how I overcome it, right? And The first response was to basically ask me to make them accountable for the things they want to do, for their goals. And I said, with great, I guess, understanding and empathy, because I recognize that that is a what you call a response, a behavioral response to, having to change. It's almost like you're hoping for someone to force you, you're hoping for a circumstance to demand it from you. But you don't have to wait until it's a demand in order for it to be the right time to do something. You can do it without the pressure, you know? And I mean, I did it without the pressure. Okay, I had to pause the previous video because I felt like I was rambling. I wasn't really going anywhere. So I needed just a minute to collect my thoughts. So, what I was trying to say is that no one is going to help you on your journey. Your journey home to yourself is a single one man journey. It's a warrior's journey. And when I talk about warriors, I'm talking about, people who went into the trenches, came back alive. A soldier is someone who takes demands from people. A soldier is someone who takes orders, marching orders that aren't yours, right? A warrior is like an anti hero, someone who barely believes in himself, someone who does not see themselves, does not see their power, does not see, you know, their impact and their importance on this earth. And I'm emotional now because warriors are the greatest fighters. They are the greatest fighters. And I even wrote a book. I'm kind of in the middle of a book. I'm in the middle of writing a book. And I'm actually not a book, two books at the moment. Actually, three technically, but two at the moment, right? And I just want to go to my Google Drive. But in doing that, I've been thinking more about the warrior's journey and basically what stakes it takes in order for someone to be who they want to be. As in, how do you get home to yourself? Because, like I've said in previous videos, when you're born, you know who you are, and then you get orientated and domesticated basically into being a human. What you basically get domesticated into this matrix that this is the box and this is what you need to fit into, right? So I'm just gonna read a snippet, the forward to my um I guess I don't want to call it a manuscript because it's not really a manuscript, but um yeah, my draft of my book, right? So the forward says, "To all my warriors that have had their hearts broken, yet still find the bravery and strength to fight silent battles we don't speak about. This is for those tethered hearts tied together with nothing but hope for a future better than what today brings. Most importantly, this is for my nephew, so you never have to fight any battle alone." I've seen this in a lot of millennials where we're all going back to our childhood, trying to figure out what happened to us. Why do we have a certain personality? Why do we feel so, dissatisfied with life, not content? Um, and I also see groups of people who are wanting things to remain the same, not willing to do the emotional work to figure out why they act in a certain way. Why do they self-destruct relationships? Why do they cheat? Why do they hurt? In whatever it is that they need to be working on. And I've come to find that it's very unfortunate that the people who are actually doing the work are the victims of sexual abuse, the victims of physical abuse, the victims. They're the ones working the hardest. And I was thinking today about how ever since I've ascended, I feel sorry for humans, all of them, meaning even those who abuse people, because that is also a manifestation of bad parenting, whether it's in the environment in terms of exposure, or whether it was nature, meaning their personality. Maybe their frontal lobe is short, or whatever the story. So it this how the world is now is basically a manifestation of who the loudest voices in the room have been. The wrong people, right? White people, they've created these systems, these isms, all these ways of gatekeeping things and gatekeeping information from each other and not learning from each other and not being united. That is all a ploy to make sure that specific groups of people stay in a specific class and a specific, you know, it's those people who are not willing to do the homework. They don't want to know who they are. They don't care. They just want to keep taking from the people who know. So don't let them take any more from you. They take enough. They take enough. So it's up to you to figure out who you are and why you act a certain way. What happened to you? Um, it's this is what is written in those books, The Secret, your books like The Four Agreements. This book, let me go get it actually. This book, The Four Agreements, is a great book. So this book has been highlighted in, or not highlighted it. It's papers. It's what you call lines. I've written in it. I've made notes. That's my thing. So I've stopped. That's another thing, right? So growing up, I used my I think we because we went to the library a lot and I used to borrow books, right? I learned this behavior of not writing in books because they weren't mine. And then I carried that over even when I was buying my books. And then one day I was thinking, wait, why don't I just highlight in the book again? And I couldn't come to a plausible reason besides, oh, what if someone reads it? But what if they don't? What if they never read it? What if you never borrow it to another soul? So you've never experienced it the way you wanted to, or because you thought someone was going to borrow it. That just sounds so strange to me now. That sounds very strange to me now because you're basically saying that you can pause your life and not enjoy things for the next person that may or may not even need this, want this, or even get it. That's why I'm interrogating everything in my life, every single thing that I thought to be true, because maybe it was true at a certain time. So, for example, when I was borrowing books, definitely don't write in other people's books. But now that I am older, now I own my books. So why am I still doing things that do not apply to who I am now today? That's how you need to be thinking. That is how you need to be interrogating your life, constantly debunking your own traditions or your own learned behaviors. Question everything. Okay, so back to this book. Let me just wipe my hands here. So this book, I recommended it to. So Urofiwa was going to our friend Marcel's birthday, and I basically, when we were thinking about a present for her, I suggested this book because I was like, I know it's amazing. I know that I basically feel like everyone should read this book. Um, it's actually such a gem. It basically um, nicely summarizes everything that I talk about. So the four agreements are: be impeccable with your word. The second agreement, which that's the first, the second agreement is don't take anything personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. And then the fourth agreement is always do your best. So I'm just going to go back to reading just the summary of the first. So be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself and gossip about others. I have a huge, very big wall when it comes to gossiping. My friends know it's not for me. It's not my thing. I don't talk about anyone unless it's relevant to the conversation. That's it. And it's something that I've either said to their face or would say to their face, or I wouldn't mind them knowing. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. I've always tried to walk with truth and with love. This book, it's literally just such a guide for people who are lost. Okay, the second agreement is don't take anything personally. So, right? Nothing others do is because of you. It's so important to learn that. Like, you need to learn that everyone, you have your own reality, right? And you think that your reality and your perspective needs to be pushed onto others. But that's not fair because everyone has got their own individual journey, their own individual life that they're leading. So that means you have your own reality, another person has their own reality. And it's not for you to say that your reality is more important or should be agreed upon more than yours, than theirs, I mean. So, yeah, just remember that it's not about you most times because you it can only be about you when it's your life. So when you are trying to impose your beliefs on other people, that is not moving with truth or love because you don't love that person for who they are. You want to impose your beliefs onto that person. That's not love. That is control. That is you wanting your needs to be met but not worrying about the other person, and among other things. Like, it's trash. What about that? Okay. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own dreams. That's what I was talking about. You, when you have your own reality, you try to project that onto other people. But there is no objective reality. It doesn't exist. There's just your reality and another person's reality. That's it. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of the needless suffering. You will no longer be a victim of suffering in terms of why did someone not call you? Why did someone not invite you somewhere? You will get to a place of peace where it's like, oh, they just don't want me there. Or, oh, I'm just not that close to them. I didn't realize. Now I can move accordingly. Right? So it doesn't have to be a situation where it's hard, it's cutthroat, where like, oh, now that this person's shown you who they are, you're not going to be friends with them completely. Try to understand, be curious. I think that's another thing when I say don't take things personally. I think being curious as to, oh, why would you do that, and ask questions and ask, oh, why did you do that? that will give you that will give you more than take away from you. But when you are passive aggressive and you're trying to show, that's literally, just think of a child having a tantrum. That's how a child does things. They can't speak with their words. They end up literally just trying to show you that they're upset with you. So they'll be quiet and not talk to you. They will sulk. um so what you guys are doing is just adult temper tantrum. How awkward when you guys are being like passive aggressive, you're actually being childish. Wow. Okay, number three. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. That's it. Remember when I was saying that you don't make assumptions? Don't make assumptions. Just instead of an assumption, just be curious. Just wonder, oh, why did she not invite me to the birthday? Not, oh, she didn't invite me to my birthday, to her birthday. Okay, she'll see. She'll see who's going to help her with her move now. Because I said I was going to help her. But now because she didn't invite me, I'm not gonna help her. I'm not saying that that's not a shitty situation. Trust me, I've been through very bad friendships. I've been through heartbreaking friendships. So I know what I'm talking about. But don't assume, even in that situation, don't assume. Gather information and then proceed accordingly. That's it. Gather information, proceed accordingly. Okay, let's go back to that. Don't make assumptions. So, communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. So, just say what it is that is on your head, in your head, on your head, on your mind, in your mind. I don't know. That, right? With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. That I agree. Don't assume anything, ever. Okay, last one is very simple. If you do all three of these, you need to always then be doing your best. So you do your best in terms of not making assumptions. You do your best in terms of not taking anything personally. Just do your best in this. Okay. So what it says here on do your best is going to change from moment to moment. Yes. So days are not the same. Your best will be different. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to when you're sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best. You will avoid self judgment, self abuse, and regret. That's why I love this book. The Four Agreements. That is just a summary. Obviously, there's more in the book. So get the book, find the book, wherever you find your books, wherever you read. If you don't read, try it. Pick it up. Because reading is the gateway to understanding. If you do not know how to comprehend a passage, you won't be able to know how to comprehend science. Because science comes with learning pattern recognition. And how do you learn pattern recognition? When you read, when you expose yourself to things. If you're always scrolling, talking gossip, all of those are distractions. Humans are living in a huge state of distractions right now. And it shows. Okay, so another prompt I had was from the this is a quote, right? Everything you want is on the other side of fear. This is by Jack Canfield. So everything you want is on the other side of fear. That is so true because a lot of the times when we don't want to change or we're resistant to change, it's because we are scared of the unknown. We are scared of things that we don't know. But why does that fear exist? Why do we have that fear? So it is meant for survival. That is meant to, give you an indication that, well, we don't know what this is. We should be cautious here. But it's not meant to deter you completely from the mission. It's meant to just highlight and say to your brain, let's look out. Let's be cautious about what's around us because we don't know what's out there. That's human instinct. But it was never meant to be your compass on things that you should not do. Instead, it's meant to be a compass on things that you really should try because you should be challenging yourself all the time. That's what humanity and humanistic behavior is all about. So, addition to that, basically, you have to learn to conquer. So, what I said, this was my status yesterday. So, I always have like a status, a background music, and a quote. So, conquering yourself is the toughest and most rewarding journey you will ever have. Because why? Yeah, this is the most important thing to conquer. Once you conquer yourself and you conquer your own beliefs and you challenge your own beliefs, you challenge yourself, you start to believe and trust in yourself. And then you can trust that whatever you do is going to get you through whatever it is that you're going through at the time. But if you don't constantly challenge yourself and learn your trust with yourself, you'll never be able to trust yourself even in the face of fear because you are fearful at that point. You have anxiety about the future. You have anxiety about control. It's just this is just a way of trying to control yourself, but you can't control what's going to happen to you. And once you accept that, it makes life so much easier. Once you accept that everything is working for you, your confirmation bias is no longer about pain and suffering. Your confirmation bias is about good things. And that's the other side. That's the other side of fear that you never get to see because you haven't looked fear straight into the eye and said, who I am, Danindelo, Zonozonke is in Dobizolo. You're not going to tell me who I am. You have to keep going. Wherever the pain is, feel it. Feel the grief. Feel the sadness. Feel. And once you can feel the deepest, darkest thing, you can feel the beautiful, most brightest, most heavenly side of humanity, of Mother Nature, and all of it. So, like I was saying, when I was thinking about my journal for today, I was also thinking about abusers themselves and how they are also, in their own way, manifesting or living out a temper tantrum. And as a result, they become malicious in their version of a temper tantrum, right? So because I look at them in that way, I feel sad for everyone who's abused me. I actually feel pity for them. It's like that's how far you need to go into feeling the pain that at some point in time you will feel indifference. I didn't think that it was possible. I genuinely did not think it was possible because I was in so much turmoil. Because I mean, like I said, my 30 years of this life has been experience experiencing life through the lens of someone who had to go through every human suffering available. Which is why I always had to be a black woman, because black women suffer the most in all countries in the world, right? So yeah, mainly my main takeaway and my main gift for today is question everything and tell yourself that you don't want to be that person that you are today. Because if you continue to be that person, you won't become the person you truly want to be. You need to be able to not fear who you're going to be in the future because you know and you have faith in yourself. The problem here and the problem with religion has been because you have faith in someone else, Jesus Christ, who's going to be your savior, right? Having faith in someone else is futile and it leads to disappointment because people will never show up for you the way you show up for yourself, the way you show up for them. They will never, because everyone is different. So the best way is Take that energy, bring it towards thyself. Find out who you are. I always stress this a lot because that is the key. That literally is what the secret, that book, I hated that book, by the way, because it talked a lot about what life should be, but not giving you any practical examples of how to get there. So you question things. You question, why do you like something? Why do you hate something? You know, um do I even not, maybe I like to read, but I didn't like to read in high school because the teachers books were terrible. Maybe the books that we read in high school bored you. Maybe you like anime and stuff and you should actually be reading comic books. Or maybe you love romance novels, so you should only be reading romance novels and not plays and whatever else we were reading back then. Yeah, that is literally the key, is figuring that out and knowing that, once you know and you're settled in your spirit of who you are and what you're here for, life becomes so much easier. The anxieties of the world, the anxieties of the future are no longer a concern because you are certain that this is what I'm here for, this is who I am, this is who I've always meant to be, and no matter what happens, I will figure it out because I'm a curious person and ask questions. I'll arrive at an answer. If you keep doing things that confirm that, the more you build trust with yourself. And the more you build trust with yourself, the more you learn yourself. And the more you learn yourself, the more you become yourself. And the more you become yourself, the more you can tell people who you are. And therefore, you have standards because you can say, this infringes against who I am. So, another way of figuring out, or having at least something that grounds you, right? Yes. Finding something that grounds you is so important. So for me, what grounds me are my ancestors, right? I have my totem up on my wall such that I can see it every day, right? Another thing that grounds me is my moral compass. My moral compass is the end of my name in all my social media, which is rich, which stands for respect, integrity, character, and honor. I will always try to arrive, and that's how I knew who I was and how I want to move going forward, right? I always want to move with respect. Respect from myself, respect for the other person, respect for my environment, just respect. Integrity. Integrity in all I do. What I do and what I say needs to align. I need to be in total and complete alignment. Character. That is who I present myself to be. Who I want to be around people is someone who doesn't hurt anyone, someone who tries their best to include everyone, someone who tries their best to understand. And you know, let's not forget though, I'm an angel. So one thing about us is that we really don't care what your opinion is. So those still stand true. That's part of my character. So both things are true. And then the last one is honor. So honoring myself, honoring my ancestors, honoring my relationship with God. That is how I move. That is my moral compass. What is yours? What's your lighthouse? What tells you, what is your beacon that tells you, okay, you're in the wrong direction? Because think about yourself as, let's take driving, right? The world is an open field of just grass, right? And each human is in a car, right? Everyone is driving, but nobody knows which direction that they're heading. So there's knock-on collisions. But sometimes some people can avoid those knock-on collisions so they can swipe by, right? Just stick with me with this metaphor, right? So other people can swerve around and figure their way around it. But nobody knows where they're going. So how do you solve that problem? Each person needs to have their own lane, which is a reality. Each person needs to have their own direction, a compass, a moral compass, something that grounds you. What is that thing that tells you you're now on the wrong track? What's your map? Where are the parameters? So we've given you the car, we've given you the earth. The car is tools that help you, that drive you, or help you to find yourself. That's what the car represents. And then you, the individual, the human being, the one person, the two things you needed to figure out is who am I? Where am I going? That's it. What's the purpose? Where are you going? What's your direction? And how do you stay on course? Right? That's the main thing. So this page is just me sharing how I did those things. That's it. And this life that we're living needs to stop. It can't keep going the way it's been going. We know that. We can see that. We saw it with all the floods and all the fires and all the pain of the world. Mother Nature is purging so that she can spit all the bad out. But it's going to take time. A couple more years, couple more decades, really. But we're here again. Who knows how many times we've been doing this for? Centuries. So that's why we're doing it different this time. This time I'm here to judge you. Judgment was never meant to be one day. Judgment was meant to be a person. But you've been following the wrong teachers. You are so deeply rooted in patriarchy and listening to white privilege, white people, that you forgot your way home. You forgot yourself. Wazikhohlwa nganyam, wazikhohlwa. Yazi ulalela umuntu ongafanele ngabe uyamlalela. Wazikhohlwa. How sad is that? That is sad. So I'm here to just remind you who you are by being a mirror of who I am. Because if I can figure it out, so can you. Speaking of privilege, when I went to the ballet on Sunday, I just couldn't help but think of how many black and brown kids want to be ballerinas but can't afford it. I mean, it's such an expensive sport to have or extracurricular. You always have to be buying new shoes, which cost an arm and a leg. You know, maintaining that body is not cheap. The ballet that I went to only had one black woman and about four black men, if I'm not mistaken. So total of five people were black, and the rest of them was white. I can't remember what was the total, but the ratio, considering we're an African country, doesn't make sense. And that just makes me think about all the things that were gate kept from black culture. And I'm not clumsy, so that was my mother enjoying this conversation with me. That's how people don't understand that an angel, when they're talking, they're also constantly in conversation with the higher power. So sometimes we are just a vessel to help my mother communicate, whether it's through art or straight straight um I guess dead ahead, just straight. like how I'm doing it, not through art. Because I can do it through poetry. I'm a poet. Do it through writing, you know, which I will. But for me, my mission was straightforward: be true, tell the truth to the young people, tell them the truth. That's my mission, bringing the truth to light. Why? Because I'm judgment. So I'm here to judge you. Because what do you mean you're just sitting thinking an angel's gonna serve a human? An angel's gonna be a savior and serve a human being. That is wild. That isn't just That's just an insane thought. And you can tell that that has been written by someone who's a degenerate. Because what do you mean? And yes, I will say that your Bible is written by people who lack understanding. Literally, they are illiterate. So why would you listen to people who are illiterate? They literally have limitations to this human thing. It's not saying that they're a bad person. It's literally just saying you are limited. You have limitations. You don't understand the full spectrum of human. And that's exactly how it's become. Because black people used to be so in touch with the ancestors that they would make it rain. That is stories we were told growing up, for real. And I know for a fact that I, just like my ancestors, made it rain. No one has to believe me. I'll put in the videos at the end of this video. No one has to believe that it was me, but it's fine. I do. I know it's me because I had a conversation with the ancestors, and I touched the grass, and I touched the world, and I was able to connect. And I'm sure for my neighbors it looked very crazy because there I was dancing and making it rain, and I made it rain, and it rained for days. It's only starting to clear up now because now I'm also in a place where I'm clearing up, you know? I'm trying to figure out what worked, what didn't work. Even now it's raining because I'm. It just started raining now. And people are not gonna believe me. They're not gonna believe it's me. Though it's been literally hot sun all day until I'm talking about the story about making it rain. Let me see. Usually this angle is where I can see the rain. Let me see. It's raining. Yeah, so that's really the crux of the story. So let me see, what else do I want to talk about? Okay, so I guess another thing I wanted to talk about is, do I want to talk about this today? Let me just end this for now. How beautifully the heavens have opened. And the cloud is literally just by my apartment. I'm gonna show you. The cloud is literally just by my apartment. And y'all wanna tell me that I can't make it rain. You know, I've done it for days now. For days since I rose. When have you seen this much rain in Joburg? In January. I'll wait for you to think of the answer then. The calm after the storm. except there's still a bit of a storm. But how beautiful is this? And it's just a cloud above me. That's as far as it stretched. That's the heavens. That's my mother talking. It's been sunny all day. No chance of rain. But here we are. And you want to tell me I didn't make this happen. You're interrupting a beautiful family gathering. Excuse us while we confer, while we convene. You're interrupting. Okay, so now it's pouring proper. Can't wait to go outside just now to go walk on the grass. I need the grass so I can enjoy this. You shouldn't be dancing in the rain. It's for angels. Oh, here we go. Here we go downstairs. Okay, this is post to my walk downstairs. This is the other part of the rainbow. Can you see? Very faintly there on the other side. This is what a calm after the storm looks like. Doesn't seem very serious. It's not serious rain, right? There's that crack of the heavens there. How beautiful. And I get to watch this every day. I've been doing this for 3 years, living and watching this, but I can see it properly now for the first time. Ah, life is beautiful, man. Life is literally but a dream. This is just a small snippet of the power I hold. I'm a very powerful angel. I'm very, very powerful. Gotta keep going. Look at that, 2 rainbows. Those who can see it can see. Gotta keep going to meet yourself on the other side. Keep going, keep going. I trust me. It's beautiful. Learn to appreciate everything. The rain and the sun, the clouds and the rain, all of it. Look up. You're missing it. Busy complaining and being inconvenienced. Look up. You're missing it. And just as quickly as it came, the rain is gone. And that is exactly what human suffering looks like. You guys are so busy worrying about the rain and whether or not it's raining that you're forgetting to look up and look at the sky after the storm is over. But you have to first enjoy the rain. Enjoy the winter season. Enjoy the journey to yourself. Only when you enjoy the journey do you actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. You can't enjoy the fruits of your labor without enjoying the journey. Find out who you are, so you can enjoy what your purpose is and the journey to your purpose. That is what life is about. It literally is just as simple as I say. The work is not simple. The work is hard. You have to work to get to heaven. Heaven doesn't come to those who wait. Those who wait for someone to save them. You are the savior of your own life. That's it.